The room went silent when Claire said it. Not quiet, silent, like the air had been sucked out through the walls. We were standing in my own dining room, surrounded by family I'd hosted for 23 years straight, Thanksgiving plates still warm on the table. "He's mentally declining," she announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. Her hand rested on my son's shoulder like she owned him. "We've noticed it for months. He can't make decisions anymore. It's not safe." My brother-in-law stopped mid-chew. My sister's fork clattered against her plate. Even the neighbors we'd invited looked down, embarrassed for me. My son, Michael, wouldn't meet my eyes. He just nodded slightly, like he'd rehearsed this moment. I felt heat crawl up my neck. My hands shook, not from age, but from rage I couldn't release. Everyone stared at me, waiting for me to prove her wrong or prove her right. I opened my mouth, but nothing came. The humiliation was choking. I left the room without a word, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would crack my ribs. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying her voice, the way she'd said it with such confidence, such certainty, like I was already gone. The next morning, I found the emails. I'd been using the family computer to check bank statements when I saw a folder titled Dad's Situation. My stomach twisted. I opened it. Inside were drafts, emails to lawyers, financial advisors, even a social worker. Claire had written to all of them, claiming I was confused, forgetting things, making poor financial choices. She said I'd been leaving the stove on, that I'd gotten lost driving home. None of it was true. Then I found the document, a power of attorney form already filled out. My name, Michael's name, her name, unsigned but ready. She'd been planning this for months. At the bottom of the folder was a scanned letter from a real estate agent. Subject line, estimated value of property, confidential. My house, she was pricing my house. I called my lawyer, Preston Hall, the same man who'd handled my wife's estate 4 years ago. His office smelled like old leather and coffee that had been reheated too many times. "She's already started the process," Preston said, sliding papers across his desk. "She filed a petition claiming you're incapacitated. If a judge signs off, Michael becomes your legal guardian. You lose control of everything." I felt the floor tilt under me. "Can we stop it?" "We can try, but you'll need to prove competence in court. That means psych evaluations, cognitive tests, witnesses." He paused. "And if she's been spreading this story long enough, people might believe her." "I'm 71, Preston. I'm not senile." "I know that, but the burden of proof is on you now." He leaned forward. "We need to prepare for a fight, and it won't be clean." I left his office with a sick feeling in my chest. This wasn't just legal maneuvering. This was my son letting it happen. I confronted Michael 2 days later. He sat on my porch, staring at his phone like it held answers I couldn't give him. "Did you know what she was planning?" I asked. He didn't look up. "Dad, she's just worried about you." "Worried? Michael, she told everyone I'm losing my mind. She's filing legal papers behind my back." Finally, he met my eyes. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept either. "She says you've been forgetting things, small stuff, names, appointments." "Everyone forgets things. That doesn't make me incapacitated." "I know," his voice cracked. "I know, Dad, but she keeps saying," he stopped, swallowed hard. "She keeps saying it's only going to get worse, that if we don't act now, you'll hurt yourself." "Do you believe that?" He hesitated. That hesitation gutted me more than anything Claire had said. "I don't know what to believe anymore," he whispered. I watched him walk away, shoulders slumped like he was carrying something too heavy to name. I started collecting proof. Every conversation, every interaction I documented. I kept a journal with dates, times, details. I asked my doctor for a written statement of my cognitive health. Clean bill. I reached out to old friends. My neighbor, Mr. Brennan, agreed to testify. So did my former business partner, Howard. Even my pastor offered a character reference. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from someone I hadn't spoken to in 15 years. "It's Patricia," the voice said. "Patricia Lyle, my late wife's best friend. We drifted apart after the funeral." "I heard what's happening," she said, "and I have something you need to see." She showed up that afternoon with a manila folder. Inside were printed Facebook messages between Claire and another woman, someone I didn't recognize. The messages were cold, calculating. Claire had written, "Once we get the house signed over, we can sell it fast. He won't even know until it's done." Patricia's hand shook as she handed it to me. "I'm so sorry. I should have said something sooner." Claire posted a video on Facebook. I didn't see it at first. Michael's cousin called to tell me. In the video, Claire stood in my kitchen, speaking softly to the camera like a concerned daughter. She said I'd left the stove on twice that week, that I'd forgotten my grandson's name during a visit. It was edited to make me look confused in the background, fumbling with a coffee pot. The comments were brutal. "Poor thing, so sad to watch. You're doing the right thing, Claire." But then, buried halfway down, someone wrote, "This feels staged. Why is she filming him without permission?" That comment got 43 likes. I screenshot everything. Patricia helped me file a report with Facebook for harassment, but the video stayed up. The damage was done. My reputation was unraveling online, one manipulated clip at a time. I set up a voice recorder in my living room, small, hidden behind a picture frame. 3 days later, Claire came over while Michael was at work. She didn't know I was home. I stayed upstairs, listening through the floor vent. She called someone, her sister, I think. "He's being stubborn," she said, "but it doesn't matter. Once the hearing happens, the judge will side with us. Everyone thinks he's losing it." A pause. "No, Michael still feels guilty, but he'll get over it. He knows this is for the best." She laughed, sharp and cold. "Besides, the house is worth over $600,000. We're not walking away from that." I stopped the recording. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the device. The next morning, Michael came by to pick up some old files. I played him the recording. He went pale. He didn't say a word. He just stood there, staring at the recorder like it had betrayed him. The mediation was set up by a court-appointed social worker named Ms. Delgado. It was supposed to be neutral, a chance to talk things through before the hearing. It wasn't neutral. Claire sat beside Michael, composed and calm. "Ms. Delgado asked me questions like I was a child. Do you know what day it is? Can you tell me your address?" I answered each one perfectly, but Claire interrupted. "He has good days and bad days," she said smoothly. "This must be a good day." Ms. Delgado nodded like that made sense. I felt my chest tighten. This woman had decided before I even walked in. "I think it's best," Ms. Delgado said gently, "if you consider allowing your son to manage your affairs, just temporarily, for your safety." Michael wouldn't look at me. I stood up. "I'm not incapacitated, and I'm not signing anything." Claire's smile didn't reach her eyes. "We'll let the court decide." The next day, someone I never expected showed up at my door. Victor Kane. We'd worked together 30 years ago, back when I ran my own electrical contracting business. We'd had a falling out over a job dispute and hadn't spoken since. "I heard what's happening," he said, "and I'm here to tell the truth." He'd run into Claire at a community event months ago. She'd asked him questions about my past, fishing for stories about memory lapses or mistakes I'd made on job sites. "I didn't think much of it then," Victor said, "but now I realize she was building a case." He agreed to testify, not because we were friends, but because what she was doing was wrong. Claire's face drained of color when she heard Victor's name mentioned in a court filing. Her confident facade cracked, just a little. She knew people were starting to see through her. The letter came on a Tuesday, plain envelope, no return address. Inside was a single typed page. Drop the case, or we'll make sure everyone knows about the incident in 2019. Your reputation won't survive it." My hands went cold. The incident they were referring to, a minor car accident where I'd briefly confused a street name, had been nothing. But in the wrong light, it could be twisted. This was a threat, a calculated move to scare me into silence. I called Preston immediately. He told me to save the letter, file a police report. "They're getting desperate," he said. "That's good. Desperate people make mistakes." But I didn't feel good. I felt hunted. That night I made a decision. I wasn't backing down. Not for threats, not for shame, not for anyone. If they wanted a fight, I'd give them one. The court date arrived like a storm I'd been watching build for months. I woke up at 5 in the morning, too anxious to sleep. I ironed my best shirt, polished my shoes, rehearsed what I'd say if given the chance. Preston met me outside the courthouse. He carried a briefcase thick with documents, medical records, witness statements, the recording, the threatening letter. "Remember," he said, "stay calm, answer clearly, don't let her rattle you." Inside, the courtroom smelled like floor polish and tension. Claire sat at the front with her lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman in a gray suit. Michael sat beside her, staring at his hands. I took my seat across the aisle. The distance between us felt wider than the room. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Arlene Winters entered, a woman in her 60s with steel-gray hair and an expression that gave nothing away. Claire's lawyer stood first. "Your Honor, we're here to protect a vulnerable man from himself." My jaw clenched. Before the hearing officially began, there was a small gathering in the hallway. Extended family, a few neighbors, people who'd heard about the case. Someone made a joke. "Bet he doesn't even remember why we're here." Laughter rippled through the group. Not cruel exactly, just casual, like my dignity was a punchline. I stood near the water fountain, silent, recording every face, every word, storing it for later. Claire stood at the center, basking in the attention. She played the role of concerned daughter-in-law perfectly. "It's hard," she said softly, "but someone has to protect him." I met her eyes across the hallway. For a split second, something flickered there. Fear, maybe, or recognition that I wasn't broken yet. The bailiff called us back inside. I walked past them all, spine straight, hands steady. Let them laugh now. They wouldn't be laughing long. Claire's lawyer presented first. She laid out documents, medical forms, testimonies from people who claimed I'd seemed confused at social events, even the Facebook video. "This man," she said, gesturing toward me, "is no longer capable of managing his own affairs. The evidence is clear." I wanted to speak, to shout, but Preston squeezed my arm. "Not yet." The judge listened, expressionless. She flipped through the documents, pausing occasionally to ask a clarifying question. Then Claire took the stand. She spoke softly, convincingly. She described moments I supposedly couldn't remember, appointments I'd allegedly missed. She even cried a little. Michael sat frozen, watching her perform. I felt the walls closing in. Every word she said was designed to bury me. Then the judge did something unexpected. She turned to me. "Mr. Thompson, do you feel you're being accurately represented here?" I opened my mouth, but before I could answer, Claire's lawyer objected. "Your Honor, we haven't established his competence to testify yet." Judge Winters raised an eyebrow. "That's exactly what I'm trying to establish." The judge leaned back in her chair, studying the documents in front of her. Then she looked at Claire. "Mrs. Thompson, you claim your father-in-law is incapacitated, yet his medical records show no diagnosis of dementia or cognitive impairment." Claire blinked. "Well, he hasn't been officially tested." "But you've told multiple people, including professionals, that he has a condition. Based on what?" Claire hesitated. "Based on observations, behavior." "Observations." The judge's tone was flat. She turned to me again. Mr. Thompson, I'd like to hear from you directly. Do you wish to testify on your own behalf? Preston stood quickly. Yes, Your Honor, my client is fully capable. I'm asking him, the judge interrupted. Every eye in the courtroom turned to me. The weight of the moment pressed down like a physical thing. I stood. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to speak. Claire's lawyer objected again, but Judge Winters waved her off. I'll allow it. Let's hear what he has to say. I walked to the witness stand, heart pounding. The room felt enormous and suffocating all at once. Claire stared at me, her expression carefully neutral. But I could see the tension in her jaw, the way her fingers gripped the edge of the table. The judge nodded. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson. I took a breath. Your Honor, everything she said is a lie. The words hung in the air, sharp and clear. I'm 71 years old. I forget things sometimes, but I'm not incapacitated. I manage my own finances. I drive, I cook, I maintain my home. I looked directly at Claire, and I know exactly what she's trying to do. The judge leaned forward slightly, which is, take my house, take my savings. She's been planning this for months. I have proof. Preston stood and handed a folder to the bailiff, who passed it to the judge. Inside were the emails, the recording, the Facebook messages Patricia had given me. Judge Winters read in silence. The courtroom was so quiet I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. I continued, my voice steadier now. Your Honor, I recorded a conversation where my daughter-in-law admitted she was doing this for financial gain. She said, and I quote, "The house is worth over $600,000. We're not walking away from that." The judge looked up sharply. You have this recording? Yes, Your Honor. Preston played it. Claire's voice filled the courtroom, cold and calculating, every word a knife. Michael's face went white. He looked at Claire, then at me, then down at his hands. His shoulders shook. When the recording ended, the silence was deafening. Judge Winters turned to Claire. Mrs. Thompson, do you have an explanation for this? Claire opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her lawyer whispered something urgently, but Claire just sat there, frozen. For the first time since this nightmare began, she had no script, no performance, no lies left to tell. The judge's expression hardened. I'm going to take a 15-minute recess. When we return, I expect honest answers from everyone. During the recess, Michael found me in the hallway. His eyes were red. Dad, his voice broke. I didn't know, I swear, I didn't know she was lying about all of it. I wanted to believe him. Part of me did. But the other part remembered the months of silence, the way he'd let her speak for him. You stood by while she tried to take everything from me, I said quietly. I thought I was helping you. Tears streamed down his face. She kept saying you'd get hurt if I didn't step in. I thought I was doing the right thing. You thought wrong. He nodded, broken. I know, and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. When we returned to the courtroom, Michael did something I never expected. He stood up. Your Honor, I need to say something. The judge nodded. I was wrong, my wife. She manipulated me. She manipulated all of us. My father is not incapacitated. He never was. His voice shook. I should have listened to him. I should have protected him. I'm sorry. Preston stood next, presenting the final piece of evidence. Bank records showing unauthorized wire transfers from my account. Small amounts at first, then larger. All traced back to Claire. She's been siphoning money for 8 months, Preston said, without Mr. Thompson's knowledge or consent. The judge examined the records, her expression growing colder with each page. Claire's lawyer tried to argue. Your Honor, Mrs. Thompson was managing household expenses. These aren't household expenses, the judge cut in. These are transfers to personal accounts. This is theft. Claire finally spoke, her voice shaking. I was trying to help. He wasn't paying attention to his finances. Because you told everyone he couldn't, I said. The judge silenced us both with a look. She closed the folder and folded her hands. "I've seen enough. This court finds no evidence of incapacitation. Mr. Thompson retains full control of his affairs." She turned to Claire. "Mrs. Thompson, you will have no further access to his accounts, property, or medical information. If you contact him without his explicit permission, I'll consider it harassment." Claire's face crumbled. Her lawyer grabbed her arm as she started to stand, but she sank back down, speechless. The judge's gavel echoed through the courtroom. Case dismissed. I felt the weight lift off my chest like I'd been holding my breath for months. Preston shook my hand, grinning. Victor clapped me on the shoulder. Outside, people who doubted me suddenly wanted to talk. My sister hugged me, crying. My brother-in-law apologized. Even the neighbors who'd laughed looked ashamed. Claire walked past without a word, her lawyer guiding her toward the parking lot. She didn't look back. Michael stayed behind. "Dad, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want to make this right." I studied him, this man I'd raised, who'd chosen her over me, who'd finally chosen truth when it mattered most. "You want to make it right," I said. "Then don't let her manipulate you again, and don't ask me to forget what you let happen." He nodded, tears streaming. "I understand." I walked away, not sure if we'd ever repair what she'd broken, but I knew one thing. I wasn't the one who needed fixing. Word spread fast. By the next day, half the town knew what had happened. People called, some apologizing, others congratulating me. Claire's reputation shattered overnight. The women she'd had coffee with stopped answering her calls. The social worker who doubted me sent a formal apology. I ran into her once, at the grocery store. She turned down a different aisle the moment she saw me. I didn't chase her, I didn't need to. But she tried one more move. A week later, Michael called. She wants to apologize in person. "No, Dad," she says. "I don't care what she says, I'm done." I paused. "And if you keep pushing this, we're done too." He didn't push. Claire never got her apology. She never got anything from me again. 2 months later, Michael filed for divorce. Preston helped me file a restraining order. Claire was barred from contacting me, coming near my property, or discussing me publicly. The bank records led to a civil case. She was ordered to repay every cent she'd stolen, plus damages. Her lawyer tried to negotiate, but I refused. She wanted to take everything from me. Now she pays everything back. The court agreed. She lost her car, had to move into a smaller apartment. Her social media went dark. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just watched the consequences unfold, knowing I'd fought for my dignity and won. Justice wasn't revenge. It was boundaries enforced. Michael and I started rebuilding slowly. Sunday dinners, careful conversations. He was learning to stand on his own again without her whispering in his ear. It would take time, but time was something I had now, free and clear. I stood on my porch one evening, watching the sun set over the neighborhood I'd lived in for 40 years. The same house Claire had tried to steal. The same life she'd tried to end. Michael pulled into the driveway. He'd been coming by more often, helping with yard work, just sitting quietly like he was relearning how to be a son. "You doing okay, Dad?" he asked. "Yeah," I said, "I am." And I meant it. I was stronger now. Not because I'd won in court, but because I'd refused to disappear when they tried to erase me. Claire thought silence meant weakness. She thought age meant helplessness. She was wrong. I looked at my son, still broken in places. "Still healing. We're going to be okay," I said. He nodded, hopeful. "Yeah, we will." Inside, my house was mine again. My life was mine again. And when I closed the door that night, I finally felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace.